So I can start now, sir.
Virendra, just 1 or 2 seconds.
Okay, sir. Okay, no problems.
हाँ जी। अच्छा, मैं अभी वेबिनार में हूँ, देखता हूँ थोड़ी देर।
Yes, Virendra. Now.
Okay. Okay, sir. So namaste and good evening to one and all. I, Dr. Virendra B. Turkar, convener of EAST Maharashtra Forum and today's events coordinator, heartily welcome all the dignitaries, teachers, students, and all the participants to this webinar on structuralism and understanding towards decoding structure. Firstly, here I would like to take an opportunity to welcome the chairperson of the event, Dr. Ashwin Patil sir, who is a budding poet with lots of creativity and prospect. Secondly, I would like to welcome the most important figure, pivotal figure of the ongoing event, the resource person of today's webinar, Pramod Dhengde sir, a person with a devotion, a person with a passion for literary theories, one who has poured his soul into understanding these theories, and one who believes in putting his whole into the efforts to make others understand these theories. And friends, the topic of the webinar, structuralism and understanding towards decoding structure, sounds quite complicated and difficult to be understood. But here I give all of you assurance that when you will listen to Pramod Dhengde sir, you will find that the very thing which we find very difficult, structuralism, whenever we listen to this word, we get confused, we are baffled. But here I would like to assure you that the way Pramod Dhengde sir has devoted himself to the pursuit of the study of these theories, you will find that the way he will describe it, explain it, it will become quite easy and simple for you to understand it. Thirdly, I would like to welcome here to our source of inspiration, to our source of energy, one whom whenever we hear any word from him, we get energized, we are filled with enthusiasm and the desire to do something, none other than Dr. J. Ghansham sir, the founder and general secretary of iSPELL India. I would also like to welcome Dr. Professor Anupama Ohura ma'am, the president of iSPELL India. I also welcome Dr. Yogesh Sarode sir, who is the president of East Maharashtra Forum and who is always there to assist us whenever any help we need from his side. I would like to welcome all the members of East Maharashtra Forum, Dr. Sopan Bonde sir, Dr. Lakshmikant sir, Dr. Shweta Bajpayee ma'am, Dr. Upadhyay ma'am, Dr. Mangesh sir, Mukesh sir, Sanjay sir, and all the other members of EAST Maharashtra Forum, and all my dear students and other teachers to this webinar. About this webinar, I would like to say that this is definitely going to clear your concepts regarding structuralism. The thing that we always find difficult will become easy for you. It will come within within your reach. And as far as our East Maharashtra Forum's activities are concerned, we people often think that other forums or other organizations should organize different activities for the betterment of or for the upliftment of our students and teachers. As Gandhiji has said, be the change we wish to see in the world. Firstly, we are required to bring that change in ourselves. Following the same principle, East Maharashtra Forum takes initiative to organize such activities for the elevation of teaching and learning fraternities, and to facilitate, to elevate is the prime motto of our iSPELL India and all the forums which are working under the banner of this iSPELL India. And this East Maharashtra Forum is committed to facilitate all those who are interested to do something in the field of English language and English literature. We are always ready to provide our platform to all such desirous and interested people. So friends, on this occasion, I would like to give you a sort of message that anybody of you who wants to express yourself on such platform, then I would like to tell you that the doors of our platform are always open for you. You just come forward and just say us, just contact us. We will be there. And now moving towards the master of ceremony of today's webinar, I would like to tell you that he is a very energetic, young and dynamic person who is working as an assistant professor at Anna Saheb Gundewar College, Nagpur. He has done his research on tribal literature. He has worked in that area. Such a good personality, such a quality personality we have with us, Dr. Manoj Madavi sir. I would like to request Dr. Manoj Madavi sir to conduct the proceedings of this webinar. Over to you.
Thank you
Dr.
very much,
Madavi sir.
Tulkar sir. Thank you very much. Am I audible, sir? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, audible.
Okay.
Yes, sir. You're audible.
Respected professors, research scholars, and dear students, sustaining the tradition of organizing the creative literary discussion on various topics of literature, today, iSPELL East Maharashtra Forum has organized a webinar on the topic of structuralism. Dear friends, structuralism is a very important theory in literature as well as in the normal day life also. Structuralism are highly differentiated theoretical fields. They share a dedication to the structural linguistics of Ferdinand de Saussure, whose course in general linguistics outlined a theory of the sign that transferred from not only linguistic but nearly every branch of the humanities and the social sciences. So obviously, structuralism is the part of our life and it is related with the art, literature, and aesthetics. So this will be a feast to attend this lecture on structuralism. And obviously, today we have a very great personality who will deliver his precious talk on the topic of structuralism, understanding towards decoding structure. So today we have with us Assistant Professor Pramod Dhengre sir as the resource person of this webinar. So I would like to give a short introduction to Professor Dhengre sir. He is an assistant professor of English at Dr. T.K. Tope Arts and Commerce Knight College, Parel, Mumbai since 2008 and teaches business communication skills in English. He has MPhil in English and cleared SET in 2008. His area of interest includes literary theory and criticism, philosophy, psychology, and communication. He extended his services as English language trainer and conducts workshops for students and employees for their enhancement of employability skills. He has delivered several invited talks and worked as moderator and paper setter. He has done a certificate course in Introduction to Communication Science from University of Amsterdam, Netherlands, and Introduction to Psychology from Yale University, USA. He is an executive committee member in Indian Society for the Promotion of English Language and Literature. So dear friends and students, today we have this opportunity to attend the lecture guest talk of Professor Dhengre sir. So obviously this will be a feast for all of us. So without spending much time, I would like to call upon Professor Dhengre sir for his guest lecture. Over to you, Dhengre sir.
Thank you, Manoj sir. Good evening, everyone. In the introduction given by Dr. Virendra Tukar, we find Indian Society for the Promotion of English Language and Literature, popularly known as iSPELL, has created such a platform in the field of English language, literature, and linguistics. Teachers, students, research scholars have understood the message of learning and enhancing the skills in the field, widening a thought process in the field of language and literature. And EAST Maharashtra Forum is doing a great job with such motto of iSPELL. You know, EAST Maharashtra Forum started conducting activities centering the interest of the students and what the students need to develop and how their language skills and ability or proficiency skills in English language of the learners or students can be improved. At the same time, the postgraduate students and teachers should have a kind of literary engagement so that it's not the only advantage of EAST Maharashtra Forum, but a platform to share and communicate and to identify and to manifest the abilities in a sense. So, first of all, I would express my gratitude towards EAST Maharashtra Forum for giving me this opportunity, honor, and credibility. Before that, I must express my heartfelt thanks to Professor G.A. Ghanshyam sir, who is my guide, friend, and philosopher, and always stands behind me and motivates me. Because of him, I am here and am able to deliver a talk on such platforms. So, with such a kind of just my words and gratitude towards iSPELL and EAST Maharashtra Forum, I now start my presentation, right? Yes. Already you got to know about the topics structuralism and understanding towards decoding structure. My talk is basically focused on the postgraduate students of English. Because see, you students just study your papers, your novels, dramas, and all types of literature. And thereby, we try to understand what literature means to you. And with such motto, with such your aspirations in the field, you come across with a paper, literary theory and criticism. And most of the students just find it difficult, not because they are not able to understand, but because they have not come in the tune of the terminology. They have not understood a kind of center that they require or they need to understand while having a kind of understanding towards literary theory. Then we just have a kind of traditional theories and then we have modern theories. Modern theory starts with T.S. Eliot, or you can say from the 20th centuries. What is meant by modern theories? Basically, I would like to tell you, because of the World War First and the Second, you know, the entire thinking of humanity started changing. The perception has completely changed. And because of that, man has starting in such a way that what is truth, what is meant by it, and whether it is valid or not. So to find out the ultimate truth, the purpose of life, the purpose of our existence, the process of interpretation started. Interpretation in every branch of knowledge. Then we come to our literature, you know, as a part of modern theories, a kind of philosophy came to help to shape our interpretation or to shape our process of getting the meaning. And as a part of different literary theories, just we discuss about meaning, because you know, everywhere today, our focus is on meaning. What is meaning? Why meaning? Why it is to be taken as valid? Why it is to be accepted? All that, this and that. As a result, when you started reading literature, you need to have a systematic procedure, a methodology to enjoy such multiple interpretation in a text. And that's why we need to study literary criticism and theory. This doesn't mean that you don't have interpretative skills or methodology. We have. But so far as some philosophers, some linguists, experts have propagated a certain theoretical interpretation, a system, and based on that, just we started having that interpretation or applying those literary theories to the text. And see, the advantage is that our thinking process has completely changed, or it changes. Because as a student of literature, you think differently for different characters, different situation, different ideology, and at the same time, you changes your perception what to be accepted and not to be accepted. So I just show you the importance of critical theory or literary theory and criticism. See, you may read this, and I read the last line. Literary theory has arrived, and no student of literature can afford not to come to terms with it. See, no student of literature can afford not to come to terms with it. Means every student need to understand this critical sensibility, we can say. And now I just start with the main term, what is structuralism? The question is before you, but I'm here and I will try my level best to make you understand what is structuralism. See, in order to understand this theory, first of all, we need to understand linguistic structuralism. Once again, I am repeating my point that in order to understand this literary theory, first we need to understand linguistic structuralism or structure of language propagated or theorized by Ferdinand de Saussure. Yes. So our first focus is on language part. First focus is on Ferdinand de Saussure, and then we will turn to literary structuralism. See, already you may read this information. He was a Swiss linguist and is considered the father of modern linguistics. He used to teach, means he used to deliver his lectures in the classroom. And during that time, his students used to note down all the points delivered or taught by him. And that material was compiled posthumously, means it was published as a book, the course in general linguistics. It was not published by Ferdinand de Saussure, but it was published by his students. So think. Then see, background to be understood to interpret Ferdinand de Saussure. Now, the first step to understand Ferdinand de Saussure, what he says, how he differs, and what he propagates. That is our focus. See, before Ferdinand de Saussure, philology was the science of language in 19th and early 20th century. Means what? Means philology focused on historical development of language, etymology, origin of word, phonology, sound patterns, and based on that, the entire process of study was centered on the evolution of language. How language came into existence, how in the course of time language changed, how sound patterns have changed, all and all. And this approach of study is called diachronic approach. Diachronic approach. See, means before Sasur, you have to just understand what is philology and what is diachronic approach. Diachronic approach means historical development, means one language was compared to other language, one word was compared to other word, and this way they just focus on the development of language. Okay. Also, it was very popular there, mimetic theory of language. When we study mimetic theory of language, words were considered reference because they believed that the word that we speak or write represents the things, represent the objects, represent the ideas. And that's why words were directly related to the things or objects. No difference was made between words and things. See before Sasur how the system was. Philology, diachronic approach, and mimetic theory of language. Then Sasur came into the scene. Vertical means diachronic approach and horizontal means synchronic approach introduced by Ferdinand de Saussure. What is meant by synchronic approach? Means how does a sentence generate meaning? Means here you find Saussure was not interested in the development or evolution. He was interested that sentence is a group of meaningful words and how these meaningful words create the meaning. So just the focus shifted from diachronic to synchronic. Then development of ideas. Now we have to understand what were the ideas, what were the assumptions in the context of language and meaning. I already told you we are not studying structuralism now. We just have focused on the linguistic structuralism first. So Ferdinand de Saussure pointed out that this is internal structure. This is a very intricate and very complex system. And that system governs the sentence, the meaning. And that's why meaning is not outside of the sentence, outside of the word, but inside. That's why it is called intrinsic structure. Because there are some internalized rules that controls, and that's why we are able to have meaning, to generate meaning, because of that intricate structure or governing pattern or structure, you may say. Otherwise not. So he just outlined the very basic principles of modern linguistics, and you may read the rejected mimetic theory, and with that he focused on how the meaning becomes meaningful. See, now structure of language. We focus on structure of language. Just I tell you first, sentence. In a sentence we find number of words, different words, and now we will focus on that the word. See, the first word you find there term phoneme. What is meant by phoneme? It is just a small meaningful unit or sound that we use in English. Total 44 phonemes are found or can be traced in English. Means phoneme means particular sound, particular unit, just like you say bo, po, k, so. These are phoneme. These are phoneme. B. When I utter the sound b, is phoneme. B sound. So sound is phoneme. So think about, in a word we find phoneme means sound system. Then what is meant by grapheme? Grapheme means the written symbol. Whatever we utter, just we understand the sound patterns, and those sound patterns, when they are written, these written symbols are called grapheme. Nothing different, just phoneme, grapheme. Phoneme sound and grapheme written symbols. Then we have allophones. What is meant by allophones? Means same phoneme, but differs in pronunciation. The example is given just like p sound, p. But you find the p sound in pit and in spin, the pronunciation differs. And that's why such a difference in pronunciation, it is called allophones. Means phoneme has two allophones. Phoneme has means p sound has two allophones. P sound has two allophones in pit and spin. So understand phoneme, grapheme, allophones. Phoneme means only small unit or block, b, p, k, like this. Then we have second term, morpheme. Morpheme. Morpheme are of 2 categories, just like lexical morpheme and grammatical morpheme. Morpheme and verb are different. Any word is a stand alone and it has a separate meaning. That's why word differs from morpheme. Lexical means what meaning is given, root meaning, and grammatical means inflections when you add er, s, or es, ing, ed, such words. So think about, suppose I give you restructure or re-examination, restructure. See, lexical morpheme is structure. Lexical morpheme is structure. But re and ed, restructured, re and ed are grammatical morpheme. So think about, with the help of lexical morpheme and with the help of grammatical morpheme, words are created. And then we call it word. We call it word. That's why word differs from morpheme. Yes, the example is given here, sing. Sing is lexical morpheme. But when you add er, singer, singing, when you add ing, it becomes singing, means present participle. So it becomes grammatical morpheme. Okay. Then syntax. What is meant by syntax? Syntax means systematic arrangement of words in a sentence. You know, when we study tenses, we study grammar, and because of that patterns, because of that systematic arrangement of words, we understand meaning, we generate meaning. So syntax, rule governed activity. Then we have semantics. Semantics means a kind of understanding, knowledge about some metaphor, idiomatic structures, lexical ambiguity, all and all. So, you know, if we don't have the knowledge of idioms or some ambiguous word, some reference or metaphor, figure of speech, then we will not have the exact meaning of the sentence. That's why semantic also plays a very important role. So in the table I have put phoneme, morpheme, syntax, and semantics. All these 4 categories, parts, elements make your sentence, make your meaning of sentence possible. Understand? So this is called linguistic structure. This is called linguistic structure. If I say I wake up early in the morning, and if I say I woke up early in the morning, you understand because of all that system. Yes. Then we come to the next point, long and parole. Long and parole. Now we are just going a step ahead towards structuralism. Ferdinand de Saussure introduced these two terms, long and parole. What do these terms mean? See, Ferdinand de Saussure just declared that the object of linguistic study is not an individual sentence, is not a kind of just the language, the kind of sentences we utter, but how the entire system that controls our utterances, our expressions, and our meaning. Means, suppose we take the example of English language. Entire system of English language is called long. And if you speak particular sentence, suppose I say, I have declared the result, I have informed them. This individual sentence is an example of parole. But how I have made the sentence that I wake up early in the morning? Because of long, because of language system. If I don't have the knowledge of long, the language system, I cannot just have parole, or I cannot speak. That's why you find this features long generate language system. It's a kind of mechanism. Long means what? Mechanism. A governing system that helps us to create the meaning using particular sentences of particular languages. And already in the preceding slide, I have given you the 4 points. That entire system make it possible long of a particular language system. Yes, and that's why just it is said that this system is already predetermined or pre-exist. That's because of that we express our ideas and thoughts. If it is not predetermined or pre-exist, it's not possible for us to express our ideas and thoughts, because unconsciously we have just developed, accepted that system, and that system is a kind of innate ability that we have, that we use for expression. So see, so parole, individual utterance, you can read here. So try to understand the difference between long and parole. Long means entire system, and parole means individual sentence. Why I am repeating? Because my focus is on postgraduate students. That's why. Then, linguistic science system. See, after having a background of long and parole, now we focus on the specific point of science system. Science system. It is also very important to understand the language part. See, science. You know, already I told you as a part of diachronic approach, just in a mimetic theory, words were considered as symbols. But Saussure rejected that just correlation of symbols and objects. He said, no. Symbols do not just represent that ideas or object, because words and ideas have no relation. They are arbitrary. It is just a kind of agreement of our community or agreed system developed by a group of community And that's why arbitrarily we bring them together, those words for that ideas, for that thoughts and object. Otherwise, there is no relation between that particular word that we express or write and the idea behind that word. So sign, he developed, in place of symbols, he developed the system sign, he calls sign. And sign is divided in two parts, signifier and signified. Signifier means spoken, sound. Signifier means word. Here you have to understand signifier means word. That sound or the spelling that we write on the paper, that is signifier. And behind that spoken sound or written symbol, whatever idea or thought we have, that is called signified, means concept, what is thought. So think about, and this is very easy for all of you, because you know, suppose we say dog, the concept of dog and dog, that spelling is signifier, but behind the spelling of dog, whatever the concept of animal that we have, that we apply, it is called signified. So then already we discussed that all linguistic signs are conventional, differential, arbitrary. That's why we are just able to have the meaning. But here one more point we have, that exception is there onomatopoeic words, because in such context the signifier and signified seem to be similar, yes, without any arbitrariness. Now see how meaning is generated. It is very important point for you. Because of binary opposition, signs are divided into signifier and signified. They are arbitrary, they are conventional, means as our forefathers have been using. That's why we are using conventional part, but binary opposition when we focus on. Now, my point is here, whatever understanding that we have, what the way we understand it is because of difference, binary opposition. Think about the policy of presence. Why? The meaning of boy and girl, it is only because of difference. Boy differs from girl and girl differs from boy. Not in the context of concept, but in the context of word or sign as well, signifier as well. B-O, boy, and G-I-R-L. See, difference everywhere. Because of difference policy, because of binary opposition, we understand entire meaning system. Otherwise, it is not possible in any way, that I assure you. Only because of binary opposition, only because of difference. We understand in a classroom how many students are absent, because those students are not present. That's why we understand absent, meaning of absent. We understand light, we understand darkness, because what? Because light, the sound, and darkness, the sound, differs from each other and their concept as well. So entire system depends on binary opposition, difference, and difference make the meaning possible. Difference shows that we are just understandable, we have sense, and we are ready to capture the spirit of meaning. Only it is because of difference. So my focus is on difference, because this is very important term if you are trying to capture the meaning. Otherwise, not possible. Understand? So, and then we focus on language structure. Here Sasur points out, and Roland Barth also points out, language is a science system, and in the same way, we follow other science systems in our life, just fashion, table manners, sports, and all and all. But language system is a fundamental system for our existence, for our systematic communication. It is the only difference. Otherwise, language is nothing but science system. Okay. So think about in this part, you understand sign. Linguistic sign means their nature, meaning it is only because of difference. Means you find, suppose I create sentence. See, I write a poem. I write a novel. I write a poem. I wrote a poem. I have written a poem. See, why do you understand, or why did you understand the meaning of my expression? I write, I have written, I wrote. Because of difference in tenses, because of difference in meaning that you captured. Otherwise, no meaning is there. So difference. And the last example I have given you, see, if difference is not there, there is no life. And that's why I quote here the words from Shakespeare's Henry IV, Part 1. Shakespeare mentions, if all the year were playing holidays to sport would be as tedious as to work. What would have happened? If all the days we will have holidays, or we would have holidays, so what would have happened? If we had all the days holidays, what would have happened? There would not have been any kind of meaning for the holidays. Because of work, because of just we are engaged somewhere, we use our mental and physical abilities, and out of that, when we get leisure time, spare time, or holiday, we understand the meaning and importance of that work, that kind of idea. That's why it is very informative or indicative, just quotation from Shakespeare's Henry IV. Then here, already we discussed that science system follows code and convention for the validity, yes, which is agreed by the community, right? Means suppose, we have handshake, and the meaning of handshake as a part of non-verbal communication means greeting or welcoming. But nobody knows how handshake means greeting, yes? And the same with road signal. Red light indicates that we have to stop. Green light indicates we have to now go. But how these science system, how these ideas came into existence, nobody knows. Think about. But even so, we use and we understand, we share, we enjoy. Because of what? Because of code and convention that we are having, and that is ingrained in our mind. So innate structure, internalized pattern, governing system, and because of that, it makes it possible. Otherwise, handshake and greeting, what is the meaning is there? But now you know what I want to tell you. Then, in order to have the different signs here, Spears, American philosopher, mentions here 3 types of signs: iconic sign, indexical signs, and symbolic sign. Iconic sign is picture, road sign. Immediately when we hold that picture shows certain idea. Also road sign, mathematical sign, iconic sign. Indexical sign is, the examples are given: smoke as a fire, cloud as a sign of rain. So this way. But symbolic sign means language, because symbolic sign has idea behind that sign, has an idea. That's why it is called symbolic sign, though they are arbitrary. Now, we start with our structuralism as literary theory from here. Understand? If you want to understand structuralism as a theory as a literary theory, you must understand linguistic structuralism of Saussure. Means what Saussure pointed out? Long and parole, different units and elements in the creation of meaning of a sentence. So now we turn to structuralism. See, as a part of interpretation, when we read different literary texts, we are bound to have multiple interpretations. But structuralism is a kind of methodology that we use in the interpretation of a particular text. But what type of methodology it is this, and how to be applied, that we will study now. Yes. So structuralist just understood the linguistic model, and now that based on that linguistic model, they created their own terminology, own system based on literature, and the same way they try to apply in the interpretation of text. Here you find that variously called structuralism, semiotics, stylistic, narratology, all and all. Means attention to how codes, conventions, signs, and rules govern all human, social, and cultural practices and customs. That means, now we come to the meaning as a part of literature and not a part of language. Yes. See, when we read literature, we come across philosophy, ideas, characterization, all situations, all and all. But how are you able to grasp or to capture the meaning? Who governs, who controls your mind? It is a kind of human, social, and cultural practices or custom that we have been following and we have accepted. That system supports your mind, your just knowledge creation process to extract the ideas, the text that you read. Yes. So structuralists investigate such codes. Now, what do structuralists do? While interpreting literary text, just they focus on codes, units, differences, binary opposition, and all, like language. And by applying all that system, governing elements, structure, they try to extract, they try to explore the very essence of the text, or you can say the shared system of meaning. Yes, that's why. So critics' primary task in structuralism, how text conveys rather than what conveys. Means how that meaning comes to us. That is their object or purpose, right? Then see, structure of literature. When I told you that social codes, conventions, practices, custom governs the process of governs our thought process, then the question arises here that when we use linguistic structuralism, does linguistic structuralism resemble to structure of literature? No way, no way. It is just a concept that they are using. But though the literature uses the structure of language, it doesn't mean structure of language is identical or similar with the structure of literatures. Language is just a medium. No doubt that without language, no literature is possible. But language is just a medium, but literature has its own system, own patterns and all, codes and governing patterns. Now, I mention here one of the examples from Nathaniel Hawthorne's short story, Young Goodman Brown. There we come across darkness and light, and darkness indicates evil and light represents Shakti. So accordingly, we will have the interpretation of the text. But so far as structuralists are concerned, they will not think that darkness means evil. They will think or they will explore how darkness it is equated. It is the focus of means how darkness is equated to the evil. That is their concern. How? Everybody knows, and we also just easily use darkness for evil. But how that darkness stands for evil interpretation or a kind of evil notion, that is the concern of structuralists. Think about. Along with that, intertextuality of meaning. Now, as a part of structuralism, though they focus on a particular literary text or an individual text, but they are not interested in that individual text. They are interested the intertextuality of meaning that is commonly found in all texts of literature, in all genres, and in all historical periods. That shared system they try to explore and their relationship with that just ideas and thoughts. So that is their concern. Once again, I just tell you here, structuralists focus on the pattern, conventions, and codes, and how these codes and convention generate the meaning in a text. That is their purpose. Then you find, so far as when we understand structuralism this way, it means this is called literary long. An individual text or individual literary piece is called parole as a part of structuralist study. Means here you can compare and contrast linguistic structuralism and structuralism as a literary theory that we use for interpretation, right? Okay. Then now our next focus is on the major structuralist, those who have propagated their ideas using these basic tenets of structural methodology. First, we will take Claude Lévi-Strauss. Claude Lévi-Strauss was anthropologist and he extensively studied the myths of the world. And while studying that world myths, he tried to focus, he tried to explore commonalities. Commonality means patterns. He just wanted to know what governs all these myths that are differently used in different communities or in tribal people, among the tribal peoples. And while studying and exploring the relationship of world myths, commonality, governing pattern, he used the structuralist methodology. And that's why he used the word Mimetic. And then, just like phoneme, Mimetic means unit, small element that govern each myth in a community, underlying patterns of that thought system. And in this way, Claude Lévi-Strauss became successful, having the structures of world myths, and he could tell the world, though we have different myths, but different myths only have a kind of governing system that we find as a part of humanity, as a part of just having kind of a human sense or human expression or human having a kind of meaning for the human activities. So understand, just like here one more example I cite in King Lear. See, King Lear, the king, overestimates and underestimates. The policy of overestimates and underestimates is related to myth, and that always results in suffering or creating a problem in communication. That's why even today in corporate sector, when we overestimates or underestimate, then there is a great possibility to have miscommunication. And the same thing happened with King Lear when he overestimated, underestimated his daughters. Then next structuralist, we have Roland Barth. Roland Barth was very much interested in the study of Claude Lévi-Strauss. That's why he developed interest as a cultural interpreter. So that's why he is called cultural theorist. And he just pointed out how difference, how binary opposition work in the process of meaning creation, that already we discussed. I will not repeat that part. But he studied that Balzac short story, Saracen, and his very seminal work, Sir and Zer, that was written in 1970. He just used structure of 5 chords while interpreting Balzac short story Saracen. 5 chords. Before that, the story was just categorized in multiple lex, and based on that lexics, he developed 5 chords, and these are the 5 chords: hermeneutic, semic, symbolic, proeretic, and cultural. Means Roland Barthes wanted to show that, see, when we read particular text, what govern us? Hermeneutic code means a kind of enigma that commonly we find in detective stories, because we don't know what will happen. And that's why that enigma is created in a story. This is called hermeneutic code. Then we have semic code. Semic code means what? Semic means connotation, ambiguity, multiple meaning. And because of that connotation, multiple meaning, we have different meaning and different understanding for different characters and situation. This is called semic code. And this semic code controls you to have that multiplicity of meaning in the context of characters and situation. Connotation. What is meant by connotation? Connotation, the secondary meaning. Suppose I give you very easy meaning for the students. See, suppose we take the example of road signal. Road signal, red. Red indicates stop. Means red indicate that we have to stop. Red indicates stop means this is denotive meaning, means original meaning. the assign meaning, means denotative, right? But what is the meaning of connotative meaning? Means connotative aspect. Suppose you are late to the office and you are in hurry, and immediately you see red light and you just get distracted and you get angry for that red light. Means that red light indicates a kind of anger, indicated an anger, that is called connotative meaning. Means same red light that is assigned for stopping now has created anger in you, that is connotative meaning. Understand, it's very easy. Then symbolic. Symbolic means what? You know, symbolic, when you read Rhyme of Ancient Mariner, you find in that poem, albatross is a sign of good omen. And when that bird was killed, you know what happens in the poem. What type of misfortune, difficulty just is created, and how from just good to bad, from something light to dark, the situation is created. The symbolic, and when that crew, that sailor confesses, then automatically, immediately, something good starts happening. That is called symbolic code. That also controls us in a story. Then proeretic. Proeretic code means what? Means this is a kind of assumption, a sense that we understand what will happen next. What will happen next with that situation, with that symbols and sign, we can easily understand what will happen next. That is called proeretic code. That also controls us, and that's why we have meaning. And cultural code, finally, entire fund of knowledge related to medicine, all body and education, our cultures, and all, entire system, life leading conditions, that is called cultural codes. They control us. Means with the help of these 5 codes, or 5, just we can say the unit in a story, when they are applied, they help us to generate the meaning. And because of that, we have. Also, Roland Barth wrote The Death of the Author. Death of the author, meaning that as a part of structural study, that author is dead and the readers have no kind of interference in the process of interpretation. Means think about the death of the author, means the meaning is that already there are structure, already there are patterns and governing system. So author doesn't do anything special. Whatever the texts are written by him or her, it is just always already written system is there. And that's why, according to Roland Barthes, structuralism focuses and is opposed to intentions or biographical context of an author. They are not interested in the intentions or biographical context or history or biographical sketch of the author, or the difficulty that the author faced in his or her actual life. The reflection is not studied. So you find, but what happened next, that Roland Barthes found fault with himself, and he shifted from structuralist to post-structuralist. And that's why I have mentioned here readerly and writerly terms, legible and scriptable. They are not the part of structuralism, they are the part of post-structuralism, because he seems to shift the focus from the structure of literary text to the reader's structure. Then we have next major structuralist, Vladimir Prop. Vladimir Prop narratologist. He studied Russian fairy tales, and in that Russian fairy tales, he decoded 31 fixed elements, means governing pattern. And based on that, he pointed out all the fairy tales and even all the types of Jan, we will find the same 31 fixed elements in sequence, without violating order. So think about, and that's why that structuralist narratology seems to have a great role in exploring such a system. I will show you the last some elements of those in sequence. The last group of functions is as follows. See, out of 31, a difficult task, the task is resolved, the hero is recognized, the false hero, villain is exposed, the false hero is given a new appearance, all and below is funny, all and all. See, the entire system you commonly find in all the stories, even in cinema. Even in cinema, you just try to correlate every unit, and with the text or cinema you will find. So the same thing happens. Means according to structuralists, no meaning is outside. It is intricate, internalized system that commonly we can decode differently based on that codes and conventions, and accordingly that governing system can be classified differently. Yes. Then the next, Todro. Wetton Todro also developed certain methodology as a part of structuralist. He just pointed out proposition and predicate, means an agent and action. According to him, this pattern, an agent means it may be hero, villain, helper, or anyone. Action means maybe favorable, not favorable, whatever may be, loving or hating. But this proposition and just an action means proposition of an agent and action that controls our literary meaning based on that kind of changing, shifting characters and actions. Then he has mentioned 5 propositions: equilibrium, force, disequilibrium, force, equilibrium. See, means you can easily understand peace, everything is right. Then something enemy invades, something starts happening, not in our favor. War means our response, fight. Enemy is defeated, means finally success comes to us, and peace on new term. Even we can apply these 5 propositions to our success story, Equilibrium means we are young, but when we pass our graduation or post graduation, we just get disturbed, means enemy invades, means we get disturbed, means we want to do something, we want success, and that's why war starts. Means we start studying, we start our preparation because we want to have that success, means war starts. Enemy is defeated means we get the result, we pass that exam, we win, and peace on new terms means we are appointed, we get a job, we have a financial just progress. So see, it doesn't mean that only these propositions you can use in the past stories, but all these 5 propositions even are structured for our current life leading system or process of having success. Yes. Then last we have Jonathan Keller. Jonathan Keller actually differs himself in his ideas of structuralist methodology, and in his very important work Structuralist Poetics 1975, he just pointed out that he was not ready to accept the propositions of Ferdinand de Saussure because Saussure only focused on language system. That's why he preferred Noam Chomsky's model of competence and performance. Why? Because based on that competence and performance, just like the people have linguistic competence, in the same way, the readers have literary competence. And based on that literary competence, they are able to interpret the literary text. And that's why here the shift seems from text to reader, obviously. In Jonathan Keller finds the structure in the interpreting process or system of the reader and not the text. So that's why he said the real object of poetics is not the work itself, but its intelligibility. And who determines intelligibility? Only readers. So that's why the quote's structure is not in the system underlying the text, but in the system underlying the reader's act of interpretation. That determine, that govern, that find the meaning. Then see, now I have taught you linguistic structuralism. Then we studied structuralism as a literary theory. Then we focused on major structuralist, and now we come to an end, the very concluding part. Say charges leveled against structuralism. What are the just kind of opposition that we find? Individual creativity, intelligibility of a literary piece, aesthetic temperaments are subordinated, no doubt. Really, when structuralists decided to use this scientific method, but in pursuit of their scientific methodology, they are not ready to give importance to individual creativity, aesthetic element, and that's why individual text is subordinated and has no meaning for the structuralist. Authors and readers are sidelined. Already we discussed this point that in the theory of structuralism, author and readers have no role. They are completely sidelined. Only they focus on that governing pattern. Then literary structuralism, once again we find demystification of literature. Demystification means when we get involved in the ideas of literature, we enjoy literature because of words, because of figure of speech, because of different ideology and philosophy. But when we apply structuralism, it demystifies literature, and literature just becomes a shared system. That's why the charge is level that structuralism is static, ahistorical, opposed to romanticism. But structuralism that we use in science and psychology is different. That is very dynamic, that is changeable and progressive. But literary structuralism is very static, ahistorical, means they do not follow historical period and any literary genre as well. Only they focus on governing system. It uses concept, one more charge we find, that structuralism has used the terminology not of its own, but from other disciplines as well. So no exuberance or romantic spell that we enjoy. Here we find structuralism just glorifies the critic and not the author or reader. It dismisses the classification of historical period or literary period, already we discussed. Okay. Then, what is the relevance of structuralism? Relevance. Why to study structuralism? Though it does not give respect to author and reader, then why to study? Here, the points I have written. We are all structuralists in a sense. This is the statement of Jonathan Keller. In a sense, really, we are all structuralists. Because our common sense is structure, whatever meaning we get because of certain or specific structure. We are bound to generate meaning based on our socio-cultural codes and ethnicity. It is absolutely right. The way we generate meaning, create meaning, or develops understanding because of socio-cultural codes and ethnicity, otherwise not. The study encourages scholars to investigate the basic mechanism of system, whatever it may be. This also helps to script writers, means in cinema study or script writers. The structuralism is very helpful because of binary opposition. Study of differences helps us understand how linguistic model works in a particular and how human conduct and understanding function in general. Study of structuralism is key to understand deconstruction and post-structuralism. If you don't have proper knowledge of structuralism or linguistic structuralism, you cannot understand deconstruction or post-structuralism. Yes, that's why. So the very intent of structuralist or structuralist methodology is how text mean and not what text mean. That is how is important. So compare structuralism to, you may compare to T.S. Eliot, tradition and individual talent, new criticism and Russian formalism, and you will find how structuralism differs from these three concepts, because T.S. Eliot seems to give importance to tradition as well as individual talent and creativity. Here T.S. Eliot seems to follow structuralism, but not structuralism that we study as literary theory, but here structure of society, human progress. We are means we are individual talents, but how we are, it is because of our tradition. It is because of the socio-cultural system that have shaped us. And that's why we develop our understanding and have our meaning. So T.S. Eliot's tradition and individual talent is different. New criticism means only text and text alone approach. They only find out or explore what literary devices have been used that brings aesthetic unity in a text. They also sideline author and reader, but at least they find aesthetic unity based on literary devices, and they give importance to individual text that structuralists do not give. Russian formalism, while interpreting the text, asks the first question: what is literariness? Means what makes literary? Means they focus on defamiliarization that controls, that bring out the literariness based on literary devices, plot, story, characterization, suspense, and situation. So that's why Russian formalism is different. Then you find Claude, Levi-Strauss, and Bertrand Todro only remain true structuralists. Above all, just critics shifted to post-structuralist. Conclusion see, structuralism itself prompted to postulate the theory of post-structuralism. That is very important point, because because of structuralism, post-structuralism came into existence, or post-structuralists were able or are able to develop their conceptualization about the process of meaning, creation of meaning, only because of that structuralism. My suggestion is here, if you students are thinking who decides all these codes and who validates the meaning, why to accept this ideology, why to interpret all this text this way, and why reader is important, why reader is not important, why author is not important. If you have such a doubts, your next endeavor, adventure, is to engage yourself in the literary theories of that I have mentioned here. Yes. Something governs you. That is my final comment. Something governs you. A neighbor's boy, I just mentioned here conversation. A neighbor's boy came happily to a house offering sweets to the lady, and lady asked, "Why? What happened?" Boy says, "Auntie, I have become an officer." Lady, "What officer?" Boy, "I cleared the competitive exam and I got posted as an officer." Lady says, "Congratulations, my boy, but what led you to opt for this?" Boy says, "My poverty." Means something always governs you. In a sense, we all are structuralists. Selected reading, you may have the screenshot. Whatever ideas I have shared, it is only because of the reading that I went through all these books that made me possible to develop my understanding towards this theory, and because of that I could decode the structure, that is linguistic structure and literary structuralism. Thank you, and hope I just could deliver my talk the way you expected and you wanted to have the ideas, so that the theory will be very easy to understand. Thank you. Yes.
Pramod sir, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your informative lecture on structuralism. As I said earlier in the introduction of Pramod Dhengde sir, that this will be a feast to listen him. And obviously this was really a feast to listen this wonderful lecture on the structuralism, and marvelously has concluded his lecture with the statement that we are all structuralists. So as I said earlier in the introduction, that we live in the structuralism. So his lecture proved that thing. Sir has explained the difference between traditional and the modern theory. Along with the structure, he says that meaning of the structuralism as systematic interpretation of every kind of branch of knowledge. So his lecture was very informative regarding the linguistic science system also. Sir has explained the role of structuralist in knowledge creation process, along with the relevance of structuralism in day-to-day life. And obviously, he has explained the charges leveled against the structuralist and the structuralism. So this was a combo pack, whole and soul pack about the structuralism and its utility in the literature and in the life. So obviously now, this is the session of the question and answer. So obviously, sir has delivered a great lecture, and I hope that most of the students are here in this lecture. I request all the academicians, researchers, and the students, if they have any question in their mind regarding this lecture and the decoding the structuralism, so they can ask to Professor Dhengde sir. The webinar is open for the question and answer session. Please, students, if you have any question.
Sir.
Yes.
Madhavi sir.
Yes.
There is one question in chat box.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay, where is the question?
नाही चला तुला सांगते त्याचा आवाज आपल्याला येते आपला आवाज नाही.
Okay.
पण ते दिसत नाहीत ना आता.
Sir, if you are not able to read, then I can put up this question.
Yeah, sure, sure. Please, please.
Pramod sir,
Yes, sir.
one of the participants has asked why Barth wanted to call his text Sa and Jha.
Yes, because of that voiced and unvoiced sound. Yes, so, zo means when we just use so, zo, it is only because of that difference, binary opposition. Otherwise, we would not have been able to understand so, zo. That is voice and unvoiced the system, that sound pattern that differs. That's why so and zo. And already I discussed this point that only difference means all differences make it possible to capture the meaning, only binary opposition, otherwise not.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Please, students, if you have more questions, you can ask to sir. Is anybody interested?
Sir, may I ask one question?
Yes.
Sure, sure.
Sir, Pramod sir, can we reach any reliable meaning by applying this theory of structuralism?
Yes. See, already we see charges are leveled against structuralism, that they do not give importance to individual text, author and reader. That's why when we use structuralism in a piece of literature, we just have to focus on binary opposition, socio-cultural codes and conventions, and the unifying system or intertextuality that commonly we find in other texts. And based on such methodology, we can interpret particular text. But even so, in the interpretation, in the process of that interpretation, structuralist as a critic will not say that this text is good or this text is excellent. Only he or she will declare that these are the codes, these are the binary opposition, this is the system, these are the kind of governing patterns that made possible to the author to create this text. That's why exuberance, spell is lost in the interpretation. Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much,
Okay,
sir,
thank
for
you, sir.
your thank you very much for the answers. Students, are you willing to ask some questions to sir?
Yes, student may ask any terminology.
Yeah.
If they have not understood, I will clear. Because
So,
let me just share, students who want to develop interest in literary theory and criticism, first step is to understand literary terms.
yeah.
Because that literary terms help the reader, help the students to develop their notion, to develop their conceptualization of particular thought or particular theory or for particular kind of methodology that the critics applies, right? So it is very important that though you may have a very quality book, if you have that quality book, you may have a very good that meaning for that literary terms.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. The student must know this thing that if we have very good knowledge about the critical theories, then you have very good chances to crack the examination of the NET and SET, because this is the most unavoidable part in the examination, and most of the students are not interested in the critical theories. So they must be very aware about these critical theories, and they have to gather the knowledge about the critical theories. Thank you very much, sir. Now we are moving forward. Now we have the chairperson of today's webinar with us. Today we have Mr. Ashwin Patil, assistant professor. He's the chairperson of this program. So let me give you the short description or the short detail of Mr. Ashwin Patil sir. He's working as an assistant professor at MB Patel College, Sadak Arjuni, District Gondia. He has published his articles and papers in international peer-reviewed journals and attended so many workshops, seminars, and conferences. He is a budding poet. The most important thing about him, that he is the budding poet from the East Maharashtra region. So now I would like to call upon the chairperson of today's program, Mr. Ashwin Patil sir, to deliver his talk on today's theme of the webinar. Over to you, Mr. Ashwin Patil sir.
Sir, please unmute yourself. Patil sir.
Okay. Thank you so much, Madavi sir, for your lovely introduction of our mediocre profile of mine. It was very pleasure listening to Dhengde sir. At the outset, I take this opportunity to somewhere express my greetings and my reverence to the keynote speaker of today's webinar, Dr. Pramod Dhengde sir, then Dr. G.A. Ghansham sir, who is the founder of iSPELL India, then Aparna Vora ma'am, who is the president of iSPELL, and our PRO, Dr. Shalini Yadav ma'am, and of course, I must acknowledge the painstaking efforts taken by Dr. Virendra Turkar sir for making this particular program happen. Now, if I just have to say, the crowning glory of today's, the success of today's, program somewhere goes to the head of Turkar sir. It would not be an over exaggeration to say. So, coming to the lecture, as I have been assigned the Herculean task of, chairing the session. Coming to the lecture, I would say, today's deliberation by Dr. Dhengde sir on a very complex topic, like like structuralism, which is actually the part of literary theory, has been actually dealt with superbly, wonderfully by Dhengde sir. I still remember the days of my masters when we used to study literary theory as a paper 2 of our masters. At that point of a time, while studying the complex paper of theory, this particular paper used to send down the chills down our spine actually, and we used to shudder a lot. It was like all those theories were like demons for us. We were so terrified by this particular paper that we used to get nightmares. All those people used to come in our used to appear in our dreams, in our nightmares. Like in fact, talking about Jacques Derrida, he had actually spoiled many of our nights, and I still remember that particular terrific experience of our masters. But later on, when we just started learning and started understanding the concepts gradually, and we more and more became interested in this particular field, and later on, at this point of a time, we can somewhere say that we have grasped the basic concepts of literary theory and how to apply it. Now, speaking about a theory and in general, and speaking about structuralism in particular, we always say that theory is a very complex thing. It should be always dealt with with person who is of greater intellect. It's not a person, it's not a thing made for the common people like us. But that's not the case. When you after listening to the lecture today, I just want to acknowledge that if the complex subject like critical theory is somewhere handed over to the persons like Dhengde sir, then it can also be made very lucid, very very convincing, and you can, I mean, you can somewhere grasp the concepts very easily if you get the master like Dhengde sir. Then he started his lecture. I must first congratulate Dhengde sir for his commendable lecture. The way he dealt with the theory was just mind-boggling, and I must say that he started his lecture from the very beginning. The term structuralism came into existence. He first, speaking about the structuralism, it's an umbrella term, and it encompasses so many disciplines. I mean, you will find structuralism in literature, in linguistics, then in literature, then in anthropology. I mean, it's a wide concept. I mean, it encompasses so many things. So he started his lecture right from the beginning, taking all these disciplines one by one. I mean, first he discussed the role of structuralism in linguistics, which he dealt with in a very lucid manner. Even the complex concepts of very complex concepts of linguistics were explicated with ease by him and in a very comprehensive manner. Then he then moved on to the role of structuralism in literature, and then he discussed some of the key figures of structuralist theory, like beginning with the father of this structuralism, Ferdinand de Saussure. He went on discussing Claude Lévi-Strauss, then even Roland Barth, then Veton Todorov and Vladimir Prop. I mean, the significant contribution put forward by these structuralists in different disciplines. I mean, speaking about Claude Lévi-Strauss, he actually somewhere was very much associated with the field discipline of anthropology, and some of them were linguists, some of them were social anthropologists. So he dealt with all these people in a very praiseworthy manner, I must say, and he explored these concepts in a very very lucid way, in a very comprehensive way, and did not leave even a single stone unturned. He dealt with these things in a very what do we say, in an extensive way. So it was an exhaustive enterprise undertaken by Dr. Dhengde sir, I must admit it. Given the ambit of time that was allotted to him, given the short period of time, it was actually not possible for anyone to just go from one end to the another. But he made it possible in a very short span of time. He actually he just made you travel the each and every aspect of structuralism. I must say he has explored all the concepts. He has actually somewhere unraveled all the threads, all the shades, and all the aspects of structuralism. He talked about phoneme, then he talked about linguistic devices like graphemes. Then he went on to discuss what is mythemes. Speaking about Claude Lévi-Strauss, he actually was very much interested in mythemes. So he just discussed all these things in a very lucid manner. Now, I must admit, that Dhengde sir is actually a voracious expertise on the subject like theory, and today he has actually, I mean, up to this particular moment, we had heard, that Dhengde sir is the master of theory. I mean, he has a tremendous knowledge of theory, But now today, we got an opportunity to listen to that particular expertise, that particular erudite scholarship of Professor Dhengde sir. So it was really very commendable and very brainstorming session for all of us. Professor Dhengde sir handled the subject in a very, very lucid manner, in a very comprehensive manner, and he somewhere provided us some new insights into the into the subject, like structuralism. I could never imagine that the structure the complex subject like structuralism can be dealt with in such a simple way. So I congratulate Dr. Dhengde sir. You have actually unraveled the very complex terrain of structuralism, and you have actually made us understand a very complex thing like structuralism in the best possible way to you. So thank you so much, sir. Speaking about structuralism, it's a very complex thing. Structuralism, which was very much influential in 1950s and 1960s, was actually there in linguistics. Then it was there in anthropology. It was there in literature, and it is actually very much related to the the basic concepts like science and how the language gets its meaning, how we reach to the meaning, how the entire enterprise of meaning making business is there. So that entire thing is there. That the entire the basic of structuralism is related to the system of signification, and how the science, what kind of a role do the science play in the process of signification. So those elements which are actually how we understand the meaning, how we make the meaning, how meaning is somewhere not definite one, how we cannot reach the ultimate meaning. All these complex issues have been addressed by Dhengde sir in his very mind-boggling talk. So I without speaking about structuralism, I mean, structuralism is one such a thing which actually as it is usually said by post-structuralists, and as was the conclusion of this particular lecture, that structuralism gave or paved way for post-structuralism, or there were certain loopholes in structuralism which actually resulted in the emergence of post-structuralism. So this particular idea that you cannot somewhere reach the ultimate truth, which was actually given prominence by the philosophers like Nietzsche. Post-structuralists, I mean, structuralists somewhere believe that you can somewhere, if you just understand a sign, and I mean, if you understand the science, if you decode the science, if you understand the play of signifier and signifier, then you can somewhere reach the ultimate meaning, isn't it? But post-structuralists somewhere reacted against it. They said you cannot reach the ultimate meaning. You cannot somewhere get if you just understand the text, you will have to understand that you can have the multiple meaning in the same text. You cannot reach the ultimate meaning, and at the same time you cannot somewhere reach the ultimate truth. So all these complex issues were discussed by Dhengde sir. I must congratulate Dhengde sir for this awesome talk, for this very great talk of his, and it was really an eye-opener for us, for all of us. And indeed, it would not be somewhere wrong to say that it was a kind of a intellectual feast for all of us. So I hope all of you would have digested the complex topic like structuralism, and most of you would somewhere have structuralism. As it's too late, you will definitely have structuralism at your dinner table. You will understand. If you have not understood any of the concepts, you will then delve deep into the meanings of all those concepts and try to understand it in its holistic way. So that's all from my side on structuralism. Now it's over to Manoj Madavi, sir.
Hello, Madavi sir.
Manoj, sir.
Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
you are
yes.
clearly audible.
Thank you very much, Ashwin, for your valuable remarks on the theme of this seminar. Ashwin already accepted it was like a nightmare to prepare critical theories for the NET and SET examination. It was really like a nightmare for us also for preparing critical theories for the NET and SET examination, but we passed that examination because literally Pramod Dhengre sir has took our classes in the House of Kote library at that time. I remembered that. Most of the youngster and the aspirants were preparing for NET and SET examination. We were living in the university men's hostel and used to go to library for the preparation. So Dhengre sir used to teach us literally, and we got benefited from his lecture. Thank you very much, Dhengre sir. Thank you very much, Ashwin. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Yogesh Sarode sir to distribute the certificates to the key figures of the program. So over to you, Yogesh Sarode sir.
Thank you, Dr. Manoj sir. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes. I am very happy and fortunate that on behalf of EAST Maharashtra Forum, in today's program, I'm to present certificate of appreciation. Friends, if you don't show appreciation to those that deserve it, they will learn to stop doing things you appreciate. William Author says, feeling gratitude and not expressing it is like wrapping a present and not giving it. So at the outset, I'm happy to present the certificate of appreciation to today's chairperson, Mr. Ashwin Patil sir of Yambi Patel College, Sadak Arjuni district, Gondia, for sparing valuable time and delivering his presidential speech. This certificate is awarded to Mr. Ashwin Patil sir as a token of love on behalf of EAST Maharashtra Forum. Sir, please accept it.
Thank you so much, sir.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
We are obliged. Thank you. The second personality to be appreciated is today's resource person, Mr. Pramod Dhengre sir. He's from Dr. T.K. Tope College, Mumbai. Sir, with your hot topic of theories, the cold minds became hot. The warmth of your today's discourse make chilling environment enjoyable. You have simplified the tense and complicated topic of structuralism as easy as ABC. Hence, this certificate as a token of love is presented to Mr. Pramod Dhengre sir. Please accept it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Yogesh sir, also for giving me this opportunity. Really, it was a great time just to have a kind of communication with all these students and with EAST Maharashtra Forum especially. Really, I have also enjoyed, and once again, I am thankful to all of you.
We are really happy, sir, that we got the chance to hear such a wonderful deliberation. Really thankful to you. The third personality, yes, the third personality is Dr. Manoj Madavi, sir, of Anna Sahib Gundewar College, Nagpur. Friends, a sheep without mast is meaningless. Dr. Manoj sir has systematically steered the wheel of today's program and brought the program at its destination smoothly and systematically within time-bound period. So, as a token of appreciation, this certificate is presented to Dr. Manoj Madavi sir, today's Master of Ceremony. Sir, please accept it. Dr. Manoj sir, please accept your certificate. Dr. Manoj sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay. It's our pleasure and honor. Thank you so much. Last but not least is Dr. Virendra Turkar sir, today's event coordinator. Dr. Virendra sir has performed his job excellently and give pleasure, color, and honor to this program. His name is synonymous to EAST Maharashtra Forum. I appreciate the work of Dr. Virendra sir, and hence he also deserves the certificate. So this certificate is presented to Dr. Virendra Turkar sir of Yashwantrao Chauhan College, Lakhandur, as event coordinator. Sir, please accept it.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much, dear
you, sir.
friends. Thank you so much once again from the core of my heart for being with us. And now I switch over to Dr. Manoj Madavi, sir, please.
Sarode sir, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now we are moving to the vote of thanks ceremony. And for the vote of thanks, I would like to call Professor Lakshmikant Kabgate sir to propose vote of thanks of this wonderful webinar with a very great theme. So over to you, Lakshmikant Kabgate sir.
Thank you, Manoj Madavi sir. First of all, thank you to all of you. Today we have enjoyed a very, as already mentioned, that the complex and the very hard topic of our literary theory. So today, let me congratulate to the convener first for giving this opportunity, as creating such kind of opportunity to organize a webinar on this topic, structuralism and understanding towards decoding structure. So, dear friends, EAST Maharashtra Forum has conducted a webinar, and today we have received a very dynamic and very interesting resource person today, Dr. Pramod Dhengre sir. Sir has delivered a very interesting, very easiest topic on structuralism. Sir is also an IT coordinator of iSPELL India. So thank you, sir. While talking about the sir's lecture, I remember a term of Japanese educational policy. They always work on Kaizen. There is one famous term. It means small or the qualitative incremental improvement. So that is how sir has delivered his lecture, and each and every term related to the structuralism he has explained in a very simple manner. So thank you, sir, for giving us and taking us in the realm of erudition so that we can revise all these literary terms and we can understand the structure of structuralism. Again, let me express my sincere gratitude to Dr. Ashwin Patil, sir, who chaired this session or today's webinar. Sir is working as an assistant professor at MBPC College, Sadakarjini. Sir, you have rightly pointed out the aspects of today's lectures, and let me thank you on behalf of EAST Maharashtra Forum for accepting our request and invitation to chair this session. Thank you, sir. Again, my sincere gratitude to Dr. Manoj Madavi, sir, who is a master of ceremony of today's webinar. Sir is working as an assistant professor in Anna Sahib Gundewar College, Nagpur. Thank you, sir. You have wonderfully handled the session today. Again, my thanks to Dr. Virendra Turkar, sir, convener of iSPELL EAST Maharashtra Forum. Sir, you are a motivation for all of us, as you have taken initiatives in these activities. In the coming days, we will try to bring new innovative or new innovation through this platform. Thank you, sir. Again, I would like to thank Dr. Yogesh Sarode sir, who is a president of iSPELL East Maharashtra Forum. Again, let me express my sincere gratitude to Professor Ghanshyam sir, who is a founder and the general secretary of iSPELL India. Sir was with us in the very beginning of this seminar or the webinar. In his small and sweet talk, sir has given new ideas. Sir said, I remember his words. He said, ki if anyone or if we are fine, so we can refine ourselves and later on we can define ourselves. So thank you, sir, for your presence, your words. I must also express my sincere gratitude to Dr. Anupama Vohra ma'am, who is the president of iSPELL India, University of Jammu. All the respected members, conveners, coordinators, and working committee members of East Maharashtra Forum. Because of your presence, because of your hard work, we are able to organize this kind of activities through this forum. I must also express my sincere gratitude to the members who have joined this program from the different corners of this country, like East Maharashtra Forum, Rajasthan Forum, West Bengal Forum, Assam, South Karnataka, and Chhattisgarh also. So, and lastly, I must express my sincere thanks to the student of different colleges and different, communities who have joined this webinar. I know, dear student, this seminar is little bit difficult for all of you. Many times you will find that there are various terms that are little bit difficult to understand. But in the coming days, or with the help of this lecture, you are able to understand. You are able to ease your efforts in literary theory. So thank you once again. I must thank all and each and every members of this forum who help us directly or indirectly. Thank you once again. Thank you. Over to you, Manoj Manavi, sir. Hello. Am I audible, sir? Manoj Manavi, sir, over to you.
Lakshmikant sir. Lakshmikant
Yes, sir.
sir.
Sir,
Now
I'm
you may
listening to you.
declare. Yes, yes.
Yes,
Sir,
with the
now
permission
you
of
can declare
convener
that
and with the
the webinar
permission
is
of
over here, sir.
yes, yes, with the permission of chairperson, with the permission of convener and the president, I declare that this webinar is over. Thank you very much.
Yes,
Okay,
thank you.
all
Good
resource
night.
person,
you,
Professor
Pramod,
Night.
sir,
Ghanshyam
very,
sir,
very much.
Virendra sir. Thank you all.
Thank you,
Good
sir.
night.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir.
Soon we will meet again.
Very good. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mangesh sir. Thank you, Yogesh sir.
Okay, sir.
Thank you,
Okay.
Ashwin
Good
sir.
night.
Thank you.
Good